The dark side of King Charles III that nobody's talking about. King Charles III is the head of the British monarchy. There's no strict legal or formal definition of who is or is not a member, although the royal household has issued several lists outlining who exactly is a part of the royal family. Regardless of how dignified they may seem, the British royal family has more than its fair share of skeletons in its closet, with King Charles having a few more than others. Number 1. The transcript of a phone call between Charles and Camilla from 1989 was leaked in 1992, revealing an affair between the pair. In 1992, a transcript of a leaked phone call between Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles, his former girlfriend and now wife, was published by the media. The phone call was recorded in 1989, while Charles was still married to Princess Diana, and it provided a rare glimpse into the private lives of the British royals. The transcript revealed the intimate and affectionate nature of the relationship between Charles and Camilla, with the king referring to his mistress as darling and sweetheart. The conversation also hinted at the difficulties they faced in maintaining their relationship, with Charles admitting that he'd missed Camilla terribly during a recent trip to Australia. The publication of the transcript caused a media storm, with many expressing shock and dismay at the revelations. It also added fuel to the fire of the already intense speculation about the state of Charles and Diana's marriage, which ultimately ended in divorce in 1996. Despite the controversy, Charles and Camilla continued their relationship and eventually married in 2005. Today, they're widely accepted as a couple, and their relationship's viewed as a symbol of the changing attitudes towards marriage and divorce in modern times. Number 2. Charles and Diana separated in 1992, but they wouldn't file for divorce until 1996. Charles and Diana had a tumultuous relationship that captivated the world's attention for years. The couple, who married in a fairy tale wedding in 1981, announced their separation in December of 1992. However, it wasn't until 4 years later in 1996 that they officially filed for divorce. The couple's separation was a highly publicized event, and it marked the beginning of the end for their troubled marriage. Diana had struggled with bulimia, and both she and Charles had engaged in extramarital affairs. This separation allowed them to live apart while remaining technically married, but it was clear that their relationship was irreparable. In the years following their separation, both Charles and Diana continued to carry out their royal duties, but their personal lives remained the subject of intense media scrutiny. Diana's tragic death in a car accident in August 1997 shocked the world, and Charles went on to marry Camilla Parker Bowles in 2005. Although their marriage ultimately ended in divorce, Charles and Diana's legacy lives on. Diana's humanitarian work and her impact on the royal family continue to be remembered and celebrated, while Charles has become a prominent advocate for environmentalism and sustainability. Number 3. Charles broke a major royal rule by marrying Camilla in 2005. King Charles, the heir to the British throne, caused controversy when he married his longtime love, Camilla Parker Bowles, in 2005. The reason for the uproar was that Charles had broken a major rule by marrying a divorced woman. The rule dates back to the time of King Henry VIII, who famously broke with the Catholic Church to divorce his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. The Church of England was established in the wake of this scandal, and it's long held that divorce and remarriage are not compatible with the institution of marriage. When Charles married Camilla, who had been divorced from her first husband, Andrew Parker Bowles, since 1995, he was flouting this rule. The decision was particularly controversial because of Charles' history with divorce. He'd famously divorced his first wife, Princess Diana, in 1996. However, public opinion on the matter had shifted in the years since Diana's death in 1997. Many people saw Charles and Camilla's relationship as a love story that had been thwarted by circumstance rather than a scandalous affair. And in the end, the Queen gave her blessing for the union, which took place in a civil ceremony at Windsor Castle. Number 4. Charles was accused of getting involved with British politics in the early 2000s. King Charles has long been known for his passion for environmental causes and his efforts to promote sustainable living. However, in the early 2000s, he found himself embroiled in controversy after being accused of getting involved with British politics. The accusations were sparked by a series of letters that Charles had written to various government officials expressing his views on a range of issues, from farming and rural affairs to architecture and the built environment. Some saw these letters as an attempt by the king, who was prince at the time, to exert undue influence over government policy, and accused him of overstepping his constitutional role as a figurehead. The controversy was further fueled by a leaked memo in which Charles was said to have described the UK's ambassador to Washington as totally incompetent. This led to accusations that Charles was interfering in diplomatic affairs, which only served to deepen the rift between the king and his critics. Despite the controversy, Charles remained unapologetic about his interventions, arguing that as a member of the royal family, he had a duty to speak out on issues that he believed were important. Over time, the controversy died down, and Charles continued to be an active and engaged member of the royal family, using his platform to champion causes that he felt passionate about. Number 5. Prince Harry, King Charles' son, told Oprah Winfrey that he had a fractured relationship with Charles after he stepped down from royal life. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, made headlines in 2001 when he sat down with Oprah Winfrey for a tell-all interview about his life as a member of the royal family. One of the revelations that emerged from the interview was that Harry had a strained relationship with his father, King Charles, after he and his wife Meghan Markle stepped down from their roles as senior royals. During the interview, Harry spoke candidly about the difficulties he faced as a member of the royal family, including the intense scrutiny from the media and the pressure to conform to tradition. He also revealed that his relationship with his father had become strained, partly as a result of his decision to step down from royal life. Harry suggested that his father had been less than supportive of his decision to step away from the royal family, and that their relationship had suffered as a result. He described feeling let down by Charles and revealed that there was a lot of hurt between them. The interview sparked a heated debate about the role of the monarchy in modern society and raised questions about the relationship between the royal family and the media. Some saw Harry's comments as a brave and honest admission of the challenges he faced as a member of the royal family, while others criticized him for airing his family's dirty laundry in public. Number 6. British police launched an investigation into Charles' charity after reports of a cash for honor scheme. In 2007, the Prince's Trust, a charity founded by King Charles, found itself at the center of a scandal when the British police launched an investigation into allegations of a cash for honor scheme. The scandal was sparked by reports that donors to the Prince's Trust were being rewarded with honors such as knighthoods and peerages in exchange for their financial contributions. This practice, known as cash for honors, had long been a controversial issue in British politics, and the revelation that it may have been taking place within a charity founded by the heir to the throne was particularly damaging. The police investigation lasted for several months, during which time the Prince's Trust was forced to defend its fundraising practices and deny any wrongdoing. The investigation eventually concluded without any charges being brought against the charity or its employees. But the damage had already been done. The scandal had a significant impact on the reputation of the Prince's Trust and raised questions about the role of charities in British society. It also highlighted the close relationship between the royal family and the political establishment, and the potential for conflicts of interest to arise when charitable organizations become involved in political fundraising. The Cash for Honor scandal serves as a reminder of the importance of transparency and ethical fundraising practices in the charity sector. Number 7. In July 2022, it was reported that Charles accepted $1.2 million from the family of Osama bin Laden. As news broke that King Charles had accepted $1.2 million from the family of Osama bin Laden in July of 2022, shock and outrage quickly spread throughout the world. The revelation sparked widespread condemnation and calls for accountability, as many saw the acceptance of such a large sum from a family associated with one of the most notorious terrorists in history as highly inappropriate and deeply troubling. The circumstances surrounding the donation were also called into question, with many wondering why Prince Charles would accept money from a family with such a controversial reputation. Some speculated that the donation may have been intended to curry favor with the British royal family or to gain influence in other areas. Despite the controversy, Charles and his representatives maintained that the donation was made to support his charitable foundation, which focuses on environmental causes and sustainable development. However, critics argued that accepting money from a family with ties to terrorism was a betrayal of the foundation's values and undermined its credibility. Number 8. His close relationship with controversial figures like Jimmy Savile. Jimmy Savile was a man who was given the title of Knight while he was alive. He had a pretty good record on the surface and worked as a TV and radio reporter while also doing charity work. But alas, things aren't always what they seem. After his death, investigations showed that Jimmy Savile was a rapist, and his victims were commonly female children, although he'd also raped women, and there was even a charge claiming he'd raped a 75-year-old woman. When he was still alive, allegations were set against him over his crimes, but he always managed to redirect public scrutiny away from himself and escape the law. However, he was very close to the royal family and could have even been considered to be one of their advisors, especially to Charles. King Charles had followed his advice and even gone to him to seek out more. Shockingly, Charles had even brought Jimmy Savile's advice to the now late Queen Elizabeth II. However, it's not known if she followed the given advice or not. Number 9. King Charles doesn't do a good job of hiding his emotions. Some have reportedly described King Charles as having the potential to fly into a rage. Some months ago, when King Charles went to sign his accession proclamation at St. James's Palace in London, the monarch was upset to discover that the table that contained the documents had an ink pot as well as a pen box on it, which had been gifted to him by his sons. The monarch had asked the aide to clear the table of the excessive items so that he could sign the papers. This led to the rearrangement of the table. The next event occurred in Hillsborough Castle, Northern Ireland, where King Charles had gone to sign some documents when the pen he held leaked ink onto his hands. The monarch is seen exclaiming, "I can't bear this bloody thing," every stinking time. He then handed the offensive instrument to Queen Camilla, who eventually finished the signing. From this, while the two incidents may be linked to the emotional instability caused by the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, it still shows that King Charles doesn't have a great poker face. Number 10. Allegations of racism. There have been claims of the current monarch being racist. Although this is not that much of a surprise, as London has one of the highest records of racism worldwide. At Queen Elizabeth II's funeral, King Charles was seen greeting guests and shaking hands. He did this from one person to another. However, when he got to a black man, he looked at the man and simply moved on to the next person. This particular issue caused an uproar on the internet. The video went viral, but at the same time, other videos came out showing the contrary, and the incident at the funeral was brushed off as a coincidence. It was taken that the king probably didn't see the man due to the sheer amount of people who were walking in. However, it's also true that King Charles once asked Camilla what she thought about the children of Prince Harry and Meghan regarding the color of their skin. This, coupled with how Meghan complained that she'd received criticism from a royal member due to her son's complexion, doesn't help his case. Number 11. His early relationship with Camilla. King Charles was first married to Princess Diana. Their marriage was far from a peaceful one, as he was still in love with Camilla at the time, not his wife. Reports of him having Camilla as a mistress kept going round and round, and a text was even found in which Prince Charles had told Camilla, "I want to be yours." This issue caused a lot of problems in the marriage between King Charles and Diana. Even before Charles was married to Princess Diana, his heart had been with Camilla. However, he wasn't fully confident in his desire to marry her. When he returned from his time in the military, he'd made up his mind that Camilla was the woman for him. He was in for a devastating shock when he found out that Camilla was already engaged. Finally succumbing to the pressure from his family, he married Princess Diana. Number 12. His attendance at King Abdullah's funeral. King Charles was seen to have attended the funeral of Saudi Arabia's King Abdullah, who had died at 90. Of course, he was not allowed to attend the main funeral as it was a Muslim-only event. He was there to congratulate King Abdullah's son, Prince Salman, on his accession to the throne. The controversy lies in the fact that King Charles was showing support for someone who had abused human rights, especially the right to freedom of expression. He also treated migrants unfairly and also didn't support equal rights for women. The justice system in Saudi Arabia was also affected during his reign and could have been considered unfair. Now it's left up to his son to reform the justice system and human rights policies. Prince Charles' attendance at the funeral and closeness to King Abdullah could have been seen as support of the king's policy, especially with little to no record of him trying to convince the king to change it. Number 13. His poor relationship with his sons and Harry's struggle with mental health. King Charles did not have a good relationship with his sons. This could be due to his relationship with Camilla when their mother, Princess Diana, was still alive. The constant struggle within the family caused the boys to withdraw from their father, especially Harry, who was a mama's boy through and through. William, on the other hand, while not having a close relationship with his father, was a bit closer to him compared to Harry. The situation got so bad that Harry had to separate himself from the royal family and step down from his role as a senior royal. Prince Harry suffered the loss of his mother, Princess Diana, the most. He suffered from panic attacks as well as anxiety. His desire for a means of escape almost made him resort to drinking and taking drugs just to prevent himself from feeling the loss. While there's no doubt that King Charles III loves his children, it begs the question of if he could have handled this situation better to ultimately bring his family closer together rather than create animosity. Number 14. King Charles' eccentric personality. King Charles is a very eccentric person and has some strange demands of his staff to follow. Some of them are extremely unreasonable. While this could be an effect of being taken care of mostly by the royal staff and not his parents, it could also be a personal habit that he developed. One of the more notable demands is that when he travels, he does so with a breakfast box. Besides this, he also requires that his bathwater be half full and the plug be put in a particular position. He also demands his bathwater be at a specific temperature. Even his toothbrush has to be set with an inch-long dollop of toothpaste on it. From this, we can see that the king was pampered when he was younger. When dealing with his breakfast, the monarch would prefer to eat homemade bread along with a bowl of fruit and fruit juices. Another of his eccentric behaviors is the requirement for his biscuits to always be at a particular temperature. It's been noted that he travels with his toilet seat and even requests that his bed be sent over to wherever he's staying sometimes. Number 15. King Charles III's preference for ancient designs over modern ones. No one knows why the monarch has a distaste for modern design methods and why he favors ancient architectural designs. Over the years, he's been one of the few royals to actively give his opinions on the design of a building. He once insulted a proposed addition to London's National Gallery by calling it a monstrous carbuncle. This comment had earned him the title of most prominent architecture critic in the world. Another time, he called the Birmingham City Centre a monstrous concrete maze with a library that incinerates books instead of keeping them. His prejudice against modern design methods could have stemmed from the fact that he grew up surrounded by old architectural designs, such as Neo-Georgian and Victorian styles. Do you have more secrets about King Charles? Let us know in the comments section below. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.